Welcome everyone. Today we have a very important and also very special guide for Diablo 4. As you can see behind me, I have written a lot of notes plus images to give you guys the best summary of what is going to happen at the end game for Diablo 4, and how the itemization will affect your gameplay and also your decisions, and how the items drop on different world levels, and what you can looking for with item levels, and also what stats you can looking for. So I'll be going through level 1 to 50, level 50 to level 70, level 70 plus, and also at different levels of difficulties, what aspects can you use on what items. I'll also give you guys comparison of different items between different item levels and also different grade, and you get to see the massive difference between 110 maximum life to close to 2000 maximum life with different gear types. And because I want to provide you guys with more information, I did a lot of research for this video. We'll also be looking at what item level provide what skill rank plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, or even plus 4 skill ranks. And what are the minimum rolls for those items? Those will also go up. So this is actually really important for the finalize of the build. We'll be looking into unique items and also other keywords like the secret and also engine items. And here I have a lot of research over here. I'll show you guys over here. And I even made a little table for you guys to look into the effects of rolling for different items. And I really want to give you guys the best information for Diablo 4 as we prepare for the launch. Now you guys can see there's a lot of tabs of information of different world levels, or different information from Reddit, even the Chinese forums and also websites. And over here there's more information with FX. So I did a lot of research for this particular video, and I want to give you guys the best information. Because as I was looking for those information, there's just tons of information that is not summarized and not collected properly. And hopefully this video makes things easier for you to plan out how you're going to play Diablo and what you're expecting at the end game. Now coming over to the notes, you can see that I have highlighted over here that our item drop rate and also available item that it will be dropped to the players will depend on the current world level. And those are some of the images of items that was teased in the pre-release. And here you can see those items are categorized as unique items. Now we will talk about unique items in more detail at the end of the video as to how the effects are rolled and how things are rolled for those items. At the moment, I really want to start the video with explaining to you guys how the world levels and also your character levels will affect your gaming experience. So right away in beta, you have seen from level 1 to level 50, we can choose between world level 1 to 2. And at world level 2, this provides us with 20% bonus experience and 15% more drop for gold. And monsters do have more HP. Now there's a few highlights with world level 1 to 2. So rare and also legendary items can be dropped. And the only special unique item that is droppable and that was tested in beta was the Butcher's Cleaver, which we'll see on the second part of the video as an example for the Butcher's Cleaver. It's an iconic weapon that everyone wants to try, right? I never got it. It was really rare. So currently between this particular world level, rare items only have 3 affixes, and this will change in the later game. Legendary items have 4 affixes, and what that means is you can see the affix over here. This is a particular unique item with 4 affix. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are called affixes over here. And at world level 1 to 2, rare and also legendary items actually share the same pool of affixes. So here I have listed a number of affixes I have discovered in the game during the beta. They are not complete, it is a work in progress, and we'll have a look at this at the end of the video. So I want to give you guys more information to plan things out. And finally, legendary affixes can be crafted on rare and also legendaries. So what that means is you can be crafting your legendary affix for your build onto different gears. But this will change. As you're going to see in the later stages with secret and also engine items, this will change. Now as we reach level 50, which should be the cap for the skill trees, and as after 50 we'll be going to Paragon levels. So from level 50 to level 70, this is when world number 3 or world difficulty 3 can be unlocked. This will provide us with 100% bonus experience, 15% bonus gold, and also the enemies will go through our resistance by 20%. So this is like a harder difficulty. This is like the hell difficulty before nightmare difficulty. And the requirement to unlock world number 3 is that you have to complete the campaign of the game. And after that, you also have to complete the special dungeon in the first zone with Kaves. And once you have completed both of those of veteran difficulties, you can unlock world number 3. And this is quite important. Because over here we can see with the third world difficulty, we can see that secret and also unique items are added to the pool of the drop items. And this is a massive power spike for a lot of builds. Because some builds will revolve around some secret items for the power stats boost, and especially for the unique items, which give a massive change to the class and so to your build. Now the endgame content will also become available with the Nightmare Dungeons, which we can be crafting Nightmare Sigils to go into Nightmare Dungeons and also upgrading this one up to level 100. And this is definitely the endgame. There will also be events like the Hell Tide for Sentry and also champion monsters with high resistance. And those things will also drop us with special crafting materials and also special materials and also ingredients for herbs, for elixirs and also crafting. Now, one thing to note at this point, the secret items that we will see later with the example over here, the comparison between secret items, the secret item that is dropped will be similar to the legendary items, but they will have a higher scale of rolling for different stats. And the important part and a little annoyance is over here, the secret item can only be crafted with secret aspects. So if you had a legendary item previously from lower world difficulty, you cannot craft those codex or aspects onto the secret items unless you also have a secret aspects. Now I do think maybe codex it is okay, but you have to craft to transfer the aspects that is extracted from a secret legendary onto another secret item. And this also means secret item which are rare items. Now, if world difficulty number 3 is a lot for us to take through, world difficulty number 4 comes at level 70, and this is the ultimate endgame for Diablo 4. I know, right? There's so many difficulty, guys. So after level 70, you have the choice of going to world difficulty level 4 with 200% experience increase, 15% more gold, and enemies will go through resistance by 40%. Now the requirement to get through to this difficulty is that we have to complete a dungeon called the Fallen Capstone Dungeon in the Northern East Dry Steppes, and we have to complete this dungeon on world difficulty number 3. And of course we'll get the ultimate endgame items at the 4th difficulty. So ancestral items and also new unique items will be available to be dropped in the game, and those will be the ultimate endgame loots. And also what we can look into is, after level 70, it will set the rare items will now have 4 affixes. So previously the rare item only have 3 affixes like over here, but now with the world level 70, they can have up to 4 affixes. And this essentially make the rare items and also the legendary items pretty similar, and they have 4 affixes just like legendaries. Now the highlight again is, you can only craft onto secret items with secret aspects that's extracted from secret items. And you can only craft onto ancestral items with ancestral aspects that is extracted onto those. It's a little tongue twister. But you can see that the later content is gated by the grade of items. So the grade of item goes from normal grade, secret grade, and also ancestral grade. And this is why we'll have some examples over here to show you the difference. Now here I do want to disclose to you guys, because all the information are coming from the beta, the closed beta, the open beta, there is a chance of change, and maybe we won't have the ancestral or the secret items right away at the start of the game. Of course, we'll progress into it. So keep in mind guys, the information is subject to change, but I do want to provide you guys with everything we know so far, so you have a good understanding of the end game of the game. So coming over to examples over here, which I want to show you guys the stats of the different grade of items and also the range of the rolling of the affixes. So there's 2 examples over here I want to show you guys. The first example was gloves that I saw on the Chinese forum and also on the Chinese guides. So this is comparing the secret grade items, which is the second highest grade, with the highest grade with ancestral grade. And what you can see over here is secret grade item was 691 levels, and this item, one of the affixes had a roll range between 5% to 9.5%, and this roll is for the bonus cold damage. So this is a freeze gloves, which have a chance of freezing enemies when you attack them. As for the ancestral items that is in comparison, it is grade level 778 item level, with a minimum roll which is the same as 5%, but the higher roll is the maximum roll, up to 11.5%, and this is also rolling for the cold damage item. Right away you can see the difference is not that massive. Of course the difference is about 2.5% for the maximum roll, but the minimum roll is the same. So in terms of grade, if we can get our hands on the secret grade, it's already really nice, and the ancestral grade will be the final piece of the item for the end game. Now here I do want to highlight, I had a look at the special legendary effects of the affix, like the legendary effects over here for the Butcher's Cleaver, the lucky critical chance which deals more damage. Those affixes, the special legendary effects, are the same for the items. So the only difference for the grade of items are the rolls over here with maximum roll, so keep that in mind. Now just to give you guys another comparison, one of the unique items called the Grandfather, a 2-handed sword, which provide bonus critical damage. So here we'll be comparing this item with the lowest grade of item, which is a legendary. And this legendary item was level 336. And you can see the FX roll is 110 maximum HP. So it is one of those rolls on those section. It is not one of the ultimate, the unique rolls. So here you can see similarly the comparison with the Ancestral grade, which is the highest grade at 786. This roll FX is 1988. So you can see there is a massive difference between the grade of items and also range of items. And this is why on the next part, I want to show you guys how the item categorized into grades from level 1 to level 340 for the item level, and also from 340 to 500, and then this goes into the secret grade and also ancestral grade. So coming over to a second part, over here I really want to explain to you guys some of the interesting and also important aspects of the key terms. The first one I want to have a look is going to be the leveling system of Diablo. And what we know currently is you'll be gaining skill points from level 1 to level 50, and you'll be getting paragon points from level 50 to 100. And each of the levels with level 50 to 100, you'll be getting 4 paragon points per level. And this is also going to affect how the item levels will be played. And as we saw in beta, the item levels would determine depending on the level of the monsters you're facing. And the level of monsters will depend on the level of the players that is playing the game. So between level 1 to 25, we saw the item level was 1 to 340. And during this item level, different items can provide up to 1 plus skill rank. And here I have a category of list which we'll see very soon about which item will provide which skill rank. So for example, over here you can see the gloves with the core skills and also boots with mobility skills for the skill rank. Now as we get to level 25 to level 50, and some of you might have seen this in the open beta because of the level 35 monster, you'll be looking at item level 340 to 500, and the skill rank now can roll between 1 to 2, so the range is now 1 to 2, and you can get up to +2 for the skill rank. And this is why some of my previous videos you've seen me get +2 skill rank to one of the core spells, like the Bone Spear, which gives us a lot more damage. Now after that, after item level 500 and after level 550 for the character level, so this is why we talked about earlier between level 50 to level 70 and also level 70 plus. This is when you start to see secret items, and this is when the skill plus rank can roll up to 3. And similarly, after level 70, you can roll up to +4 of the skill ranks, and this is very important. Now once we get to level 70, the minimum roll of the skill rank will now become 2 to 4. So what that means is when you get an ancestral item, you'll be getting anywhere plus skill rank from 2 to 4. You don't guarantee to get a 4 skill rank, +4 skill rank, but you can get anywhere from 2 to 4. But initially you'll be looking at anywhere from 1 to 2 or anywhere from 0 to 1, right? So this is the difference. So this is why getting a high grade of item in the game will be beneficial, especially to your damage. And most of the skills will be depending on the skill rank to be scaling with, critical damage, slow effect, vulnerability damage, close range damage. Everything scales on the skill rank. And this is why it's so important to know this. Now finally coming over to the work in progress of my Excel file. Now bear with me guys, I'm still trying to add all of them, and because I have seen there's a lot of different FX that is available on Reddit and everywhere else, I really want to give you guys what I have seen in the open beta to be more realistic and to be more, accurate. So here are the different type of weapons, and here are some of the highlights that I had a look, which will be good on different weapons and also different item rolls. So I'll have this available for you guys in case you want to have a look, and this is also included to another guide. And the other guide, make sure you check it out. There's a lot of good information over here about different categories, and see this particular video to see how it works, because this one helps you gambling for different items with a better cost. So coming back to the list of the roles over here, what I really want to highlight is, again, it's only a work in progress, so you can see I only highlight the important ones. So some of the things I want to highlight are going to be those. So notice that different parts of your defensive gears have the plus skill rank. And then in order to give you guys a really good highlight, let's highlight this one into red. So I want to give you guys the best highlight. You can see that those are the ones that will be in red. And what that means is those particular gear types are what is going to determine how strong your gears will be. So firstly, coming back to our notes, you want to kind of get secret or at least ancestral items to have the highest chance of rolling for those skill ranks. And then after that, you kind of want to know which of your gear types can roll into what. So one of the examples I had was the gloves is especially the highlight because a lot of the classes will use core spells. The gloves will provide plus skill ranks to your core spells, which is the second tree for most of the characters. Oh, I mean all of the characters, right? So here you can see the second skill tree is going to be the core rank, and here will be the core spells. Let's say if I'm going with a Necromancer, I'm going with, let's say, Bone Spear, and this will be my source of damage, right? And this is actually quite important to know that this can be rolled on the gloves. Coming back over here. Now, do keep in mind, it's hard to tell the names of different skill trees, because some classes might have a different name for the skill tree. So, for example, for the Necromancer, it's called Macabre. And other ones, it could be, agility for the rogue, it could be defense for the warrior, right? Or the barbarian. So what I did was, I said it's 4th or the 5th skill tree. And here I'm saying this is a mobility skill tree because different classes have different skill trees. This is why I highlighted those like this. And here I wasn't sure for the pens because I have had pens at plus Corpse Explosion. And coming back to the skill tree, you can see Corpse Explosion is on the 3rd skill tree for the Necromancer. So this is why I had a question mark. So this seems like the pens seems to be plus skill ranking for the skill trees of the 3rd skill tree. And this is how I determine which of the allocation of the skills will be there. Then, of course, you cannot roll for the same skills. That you can't get +2 here for the core spell and +2 here for the core spell. Each type of gears will have a fixed category of the skill tree, fixed part of the skill tree that you can roll those skills on. And I think this particular Excel that is work in progress is very nice. And hopefully before the start of the launch and by the time the start of launch comes, I'll make a full video for you guys about crafting your in-game items. And this will help you to determine if you're rolling for stats on the helmet, maybe you want to go for a certain skill rank. And similarly for the boots and also for the chest and of course for the gloves. Now coming back to our notes. Here I do want to explain a few other things in more details. So we talk about the skill ranks, we talk about the leveling. Now here we're going to talk about unique items. Those items are supposed to be items that drastically affect a build of your class and also give you powerful changes. The unique items tend to have fixed affects. So here you can see the damage to crowd control, critical strike damage, and also critical chance to injure enemies, and also damage to injure enemies. Those affects, those 4 affixes on the Butcher's Cleaver that was showed in the beta, those will be fixed. You might get different stats. You might get 7.8% or maybe 8.8%, but those will always be the same, the stats over here. So you just get different rolls. And this is also the case for the aspect effect of the unique. So you can see the unique aspect effect is here when you critical strike enemy, 100% chance to fear and also slow them for 70%. And this lasts for 4 seconds, which is a very powerful crowd control spell and also is quite offensive, right? So those aspects will be fixed on the type of the uniques. And even when the grade goes up into Secret or Ancestral, the rolls of the affects will go up, but I do believe the unique aspects over here, those stats will not go up. Now this is not confirmed, but I do believe that we cannot craft things onto the uniques. Let's say if we replace the unique for another legendary aspects. I don't think we can do that, but I never got a unique to test in the beta because it was really rare, right? But once the game launches, if I get a unique, I'll show you guys if you can be crafting uniques. I don't think you can extract unique aspects into legendaries. So uniques are fixed by themselves and they're very rare. Now there will be different types of uniques. Some of the uniques will be bounded by your class, so some uniques will be only for barbarian or only for mages, sorcerers or necromancers. Other uniques can be used by all the classes that can use the weapon. For example, the Butcher's Cleaver. This is going to be a unique axe. Any class that can use the axe should be able to use this weapon. You can see the special unique effect is not categorized on a particular skill of the class. And lastly, of course, only one unique of the same name can be used on the character at once. Even you can dual wield with the Barbarian, you cannot use 2 Butcher's Cleavers. You can only use the best one you have found. Now here we do have some additional notes on the secret and also ancestral engine weapons. So basically those weapons that what we said earlier, those items will provide a better maximum roll for the stats that is in the FX over here. And this can also work for the uniques. Uniques can go from secret and also into the engine weapons, and this will give you better stats. And of course, the highlight and also reminder is the secret and also ancestral items will require the same grade of items for the aspect extract for the same grade of crafting. An example is, secret go on to secret, ancestral go on to ancestral. Now, although those information I have found is actually coming from Reddit, and I have all the links for you guys if you want to have a look at the Chinese ones, the English ones, everything I found, I have those available for you guys in the links. I do believe this is the case, because I remember I heard it somewhere, because if you get legendaries at low levels, and if you just save it for the endgame, then the game becomes very quickly finished. And this kind of make it harder to grind of different grade of items and then do it perfectly. But the annoyance is you have to do these 3 times. You get your legendaries, then you upgrade everything into secret, and then you upgrade everything from secret into ancestral. So yeah, it is going to be a little grind. And let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about the itemization of the endgame of Diablo 4? Is it going to be interesting? Is it going to be challenging? And how do you find the types of stats rolling, and also different uniques and also different legendaries? Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.